What is going on? Welcome back to Trending Stocks. Today we're going to talk to you about SoFi. Today was one crazy day. I want to give you an overview of what really moved it today, go over some of the data points and everything that you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. Starting off, SoFi did close flat. Power hour was very interesting, so it did have a high of $6.35, low of $6.20. So first and foremost, give yourself a shout out if you did manage to be one of these individuals that bought in at that 620 mark, or did you buy in today in general? Give yourself a shout out. As far as volume, a fair amount, and that's actually been one common thing with SoFi over this last little bit is the amount of volume. So 32.4 million shares being traded, 34.9 is the average. So starting off looking at institutions, this is pretty insane. So you do see some very large transactions occurring after hours. 42.8 million, 6.32 million, 6.32. Obviously, that's a hedge fund duplicate. 3.79. There's a ton of transactions. So I did say that this within the next 2 weeks, or kind of encumbering today as well, that you were going to have large entities getting into SoFi as they do rebalance a lot of their portfolios at the end of every quarter, as well as today was that quadruple witching day. So a lot of money was moving hands. And so, yeah, it's very interesting to see that institutions were starting to really get into SoFi near the tail end. That kind of just match with a lot of the manipulation that's been happening through options over this last little bit. But needless to say, there was no news today, no SEC filings, nothing like that. So it was just piggybacking off the broader market. Even when it comes to the broader market, analysts for the most part are very focused on NVIDIA and just generally where the S&P is at. So I think just when it hit that 5,500 mark a couple days back or yesterday, that really kickstarted a lot of fear in the market. Or sorry, I think it happened on Tuesday. But still, once again, it's just more so linked to technicals. So there's nothing really fundamentally wrong with the broader market. A lot of analysts have said that NVIDIA and many other companies, their multiples are acceptable for their growth rate. Just, I think it was more of a psychological, scary viewpoint when it did hit that 5,500 mark. So I don't know, let me know your thoughts on that, and if you think that there's going to be more of a value rally kicking off into next week. But today shorts didn't really do all that much. They increased 129,000 shares, 17.59% of the free float is being shorted, works out to be 182.65 million shares overall are being shorted, utilization 72.95, and the cost to borrow average 1.03%. One thing I just wanted to bring up to your attention though, it's been a good almost 3 weeks since we've seen that broker that physically pays people to short SoFi. So kind of interesting as far as that goes. And one thing that I kind of caught on to, I haven't really figured out the data because I'd have to go back to my previous videos, but when you do see cost to borrow minimum, usually that is a precursor for the following several trading days, about 2 or 3 trading days after that. That is where shorts really double down with extreme numbers. So it seems as though there's like a delay of sorts when it comes to registering short shares and that broker physically obviously being negative, right? So I don't know if there's some correlation. If anyone is has any context to that, let me know in the comments below. But when it comes to options today, 3.83 million in calls, 1.95 million in puts. 50% of all the options being done today were optimistic and bullish. And looking at the open interest, with it closing above 6, so you do have 6,000 in open interest that's going to be kind of rolled over into next week. So you might see a very small bump up in the stock price as a byproduct of that. It would have been better if it closed above 650, but already forecasting looking into next week, you see a starting of a wall at 650. So hopefully SoFi does continue this positive momentum that it did get near the tail end of the day right here, and it's able to once again kind of push above this 650 mark. So we'll just have to wait and see. Stay tuned for my weekend video where I go over a lot of the data points, technicals, and what to expect for this upcoming week. So again, something to kind of consider, that there's just a lot of manipulation when it comes down to SoFi. And right now, looking at this on the technicals, so with it closing at $6.32, it is trading between these 2 points, so this S3 and this S2. So 607 is going to be that next strong support, and then $6.45 is going to be that next strong resistance / target. So if it does get to that 6 or potentially lower, this is where I will be backing up the bus. I did buy a very small amount of SoFi at $6.30. I kind of got hyped up when I saw the price action, and I decided to throw 200 shares at it. It was in one of my registered accounts, so you know what, long term I'll look back and it'll be at 8 at least, or hopefully back in double digits 6 months or a year from now. So I don't know, I think long term SoFi at these prices, it's pretty good risk versus reward. Of course, based on the technicals, there could be more downside coming, but again, all depends on your guys' time horizon, so do you guys' own due diligence. On the actual chart itself, this doesn't necessarily look all that great, so you didn't really have that much consolidation. It's just been straight down for the most part. Well, actually, sorry, on the 18th was more of a consolidation, but that's when it did hit that 5,500 mark, the S&P, so that's what caused a little bit more of a overreaction in my opinion. But stochastic, you do see no defined trend, but it is considered very oversold. So if there is a good piece of news that does come out, you could see a rush of value investors getting in, possibly to the same extent as what has been happening after hours. So this is pretty impressive stuff. So let me know your thoughts on who you think these large entities are and potentially why. And then number of retail investors were slowly getting in. So give yourself a shout out, like I said, if you were one of those individuals that did buy today or sell or whatever else. Did you guys do options? I feel like over this last 2 weeks, I haven't done any options. That used to be my ritual. Every single Friday, I used to sell $7 calls or recovered calls and collect some premiums, even if it was like $50 to $100. Like, it was easy money. But where it is now, I don't know. I think that there might be more upside coming. So needless to say, hopefully everyone has a good weekend and everyone had a good week. Without further ado, I appreciate all of you watching. And yeah, let's eventually, whenever that might be, make a lot of money on SoFi.